I love
Yeah.
this too. This is
Yeah.
stunning. Like,
Yeah, I thought it was just an eye-catching portrait. I have a soft
yeah.
spot for portraits and especially of Black people.
Okay.
I think, that whole visit, I didn't see many portraits like this, so I just had to get a photo next to it.
Did you see yourself represented a lot at all? Like,
Visually, not too much. I would say that there are more. Hong Kong is pretty diverse
yeah.
in
Mm,
terms of Asian cities. There's a
Mm,
lot of black and brown people, a
okay.
lot of Indians, a lot of Africans.
okay.
Okay.
So as an African American, I think I was very unique. I think I maybe ran into like two or three other African Americans,
Sure.
but yeah, there were a lot of Africans, Indians, Indonesians, Malaysians. Yeah,
Okay.
there were lots of shades of colors.
That is actually refreshing. Like when you can go somewhere and see a lot of that.
Yeah, I always think of China as being a very homogenous country, right or wrong.
Mm.
But yeah, that's really interesting to think of it with Hong Kong. And I wonder if is that because it is a British concession or was a British concession, or
Yeah, it's just
Or
such an
proximity.
international. It's such an international place. There's a lot of Europeans,
mm,
Africans, Americans coming through.
Yeah.
mm,
It's if you know Shanghai, it's like more so than that. It may be even more international than Tokyo. I think it is.
wow.
Um, yeah, like okay, so I'm in Philly, coming from Philly, then going to Hong Kong, and then right
Mm,
after Hong Kong, I actually went to Japan. So it
Okay.
was kind of the sliding scale going from a very, very diverse place to kind of like a diverse place for a city in Asia.
Right.
mhm,
And then, Japan, which is just like 99% Japanese.
right.
Sure. I
Mhm.
mean, so without asking the question directly, like what were prevailing attitudes like?
I mean, there was so it's definitely so in Hong Kong, it's an international place, but
Mm.
there is this kind of division, or it feels like there's a division between the people who speak English and use English daily, and
Mhm,
those
Oh, okay.
who don't and don't have to. So it's like there are Hong Kongers who are international and Hong Kongers who aren't.
Oh, okay.
So I definitely, it was easy to communicate with people. Like, the fact that I was African American wasn't too surprising. It's not like they
mhm.
haven't met someone like me.
Yeah.
But every now and then I just see someone just like, what is that thing on her head? And just kind of like, just fascinated, like, what am I? I've never, met someone like you.
But not like hopefully people coming up and touching the thing on your head or like getting in your face about it or anything like that.
No, no, maybe a couple times, like on the subway, like little kids, just like reaching out because they don't know.
Oh,
Right.
sure, 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 sure. No, that I
They kind of do that anyway,
I was gonna
don't
say,
they?
like,
Yeah.
that's kind of kids everywhere. I
Yeah.
again, when we lived in Pakistan, my sister had very curly, dark hair, and I had very bright red hair, and
Interesting.
we would go to the bazaars, and the little boys would come up, and I still remember, like, my sister and I just kinda walking with our heads just kinda like this or, like, being because my mom was like, "Just ignore them as best you can," because they would come up and they'd try to pull her hair straight, and then
Hmm.
they'd be, like, smelling my hair, trying to figure out why it was red because people put like Hindi in their hair to dye it, but like it doesn't come out that kind of. I look like Little Orphan Annie. It was weird. So yeah, that
Hmm.
was I get it. I get it. That sort of thing. But kids, sure, but like other people, don't touch people. Don't touch people, just leave people alone. But no, okay. So that was not you were fine. You felt like
Yeah.
personal
Yeah.
space was like accounted for.
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But
think
I
hanging out, the people I hung out with, I made friends with, were there was an Indian Hong Konger. She lived there, but
okay.
she was ethnically Indian, and her family's emigrated from India. So she was a very international person. And then
Mm.
another guy, he was ethnically Taiwanese, but raised in America. So he was a visiting student, but he was kind of like, I don't
Got it.
know. he was traveling to see family while he was studying abroad. But he was, yeah, very, yeah, American Democrat, and yeah, so very liberal people,
Yeah.
open-minded. Um, yeah, it was very welcoming.
Okay.
But I would say, like, being an African American, I think definitely made me very unique. A lot of Africans thought I was African.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense though. It does become a little bit of a mind switch that you have to make.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll still see Chinese people on the street and they start speaking English and I'm like, that right.
Yeah.
Okay, so who is this?
That is the president of Swarthmore College, Valerie Smith.
Okay.
So another huge coincidence. She came to visit Hong Kong while I was studying abroad,
Oh wow.
doing one of those, like, it's almost like a diplomat visit that I don't know, college presidents have to do.
Yeah.
But she brought with her a professor who was from Hong Kong. And
Okay.
then she met some prospective students, some alumni, and, coincidence me there.
Oh,
A
that's funny.
Swarthmore College student hadn't studied abroad in Hong Kong, I think, in like 5 years.
Mm.
So it was a huge
Oh gosh.
coincidence that she was visiting while I was there. But yeah, they hosted this brunch at the convention center in this fancy room with,
Nice.
white tablecloth and an open bar and these nice servers. And I got to sit right next to her and talk to some prospective students. It was really fun. And this was also, I think, her first year as president of Swarthmore College, first
Oh
Black
wow.
female president. And, just going to the other side of the world and you run into me. It's just
I
so
know,
cool.
right? That speaks volumes though. I mean, for being able to have like someone who's in the country at the same time that you're there, especially, representationally, I think that's really cool too, that like you're both black women, like,
Yeah.
kind of, a leader in her field and one who's should be, will be soon. I mean, I see that in you and what you bring to the table in the conversation, all the time around like product design and visual representation and art and everything. So that had to be really fun for her too, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, it was, and the food was great too.
Yeah.
Thank you
What,
for your compliments.
what good advertising for that.
There's my mom.
Hey,
Yeah. So yeah, I mentioned
you got
that.
people to come visit you in Asia?
Yeah,
Heck yeah.
it was a huge it was definitely taking advantage of an opportunity. So I came to Hong Kong because Swarthmore was gonna pay for how far I
Right.
go, right?
Right.
My brother had moved to Japan the year before, so the winter before, so like 8 or 9 months beforehand.
Okay.
So my parents realized, like, this is when else are both of our children going to be in the same
Yeah.
vicinity on the other side of the world at the same time? So my parents, they both, figured out their own trips to intersect with us. So yeah, during the holiday season, my mom flew over to Hong Kong to
Mhm.
spend Christmas Day with me.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go to the next photo,
Yes.
my brother flew from Japan
Oh
to
my
meet us
gosh.
in Hong Kong. So there's us in front of the big Buddha in Hong Kong. And I think this might be Christmas Day or like the day before.
Okay. It looks chilly.
Yeah, it was chilly that day. It gets kind of humid.
Okay.
Well, it's always humid in Hong Kong, but in
Yeah.
the winter it gets a little chilly. So you can see someone in like a little coat with his hood up in the back.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it gets colder than this though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was very excited for a second, by the way, because I can read the characters behind you in this, but only because I know what they stand for. Shenggong Dashi. So Hong Kong. I just had to show up for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a language freak, so that's my whole jam. But talk about the Buddha. Talk about where you are. So
The big Buddha. Yeah. So
I didn't see this. Which is weird because it's huge.
Yeah, in the trees in the back, you can see the giant Buddha. He's at the top of a mountain, and he's on his own island. I think I'm going to Google this real quick, but it might be called Big Buddha Island.
Okay.
Oh wow.
It's so it's so aptly named. It is. It is. You hear names in Chinese and it's like, "Oh, that sounds so romantic." And it's like, yeah, it means, North River. It's like because it is. It's just
Like Yangtze is Yellow River, right?
yes.
Okay, I just googled it. It's not called Big Buddha Island. It's on Lantau Island, which is
Ah,
one of the bigger islands. But
okay.
yeah, so we just decided that's one of the biggest attractions. That's like the Statue of Liberty.
Oh
Okay.
wow.
So we had to go. And then my mom and brother and we spent a few more days in Hong Kong. Um, so yeah, that's us at Central.
Yeah.
First time seeing my brother in a year since he moved to Japan. And I also don't think my parents would have made the trip if I wasn't also there, if it wasn't this big coincidence.
Yeah. I mean, no.
So because of me, my parents got to see my brother. So you're welcome.
Welcome, parents.
Happy Mother's Day for a decade. I love getting like the whole family reunion thing though, because like I was in Asia for 4 years and nobody ever came to visit me.
Oh, was
And
it because it was just you? Did you bring
I
some
didn't
siblings?
see that was
Should have
now I
brought
know
your
the trick. I
siblings.
should have brought my siblings with me. I would have had more people come see me. No, but I think truthfully, like and speak to this if you don't mind, like getting there isn't easy. Like
It's not.
it takes time and traveling is taxing. So, talk about like what what was your packing like, your travel? How did you handle it? How did you do it?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I left with two suitcases, a medium and a giant.
Mhm.
The giant. So my plan there was to go shopping. There's
Yes.
a bunch of shopping to do in Hong Kong,
Oh
but
yeah.
also I didn't know what the toiletries situation was going to be.
Okay.
So I actually packed full bottles of my stuff that I use, the
Yep.
American stuff that I use.
Oh, I was told to
Um,
bring lots of tampons, which I did,
oh,
and
mhm.
then managed to find my brand there, weirdly enough. So it
Oh,
worked. It actually worked
yeah.
out well.
So yeah, during the course of my stay, I went through all of the toiletries and threw that out, emptied a whole suitcase, and
Wow.
filled that with the clothes that I bought.
That's
Yes.
awesome. That's
So
genius.
yes, I replaced what I used with what I purchased.
I legit expected you to say I went with 2 suitcases and came back with 4
Mm-mm.
because that's how I travel.
I
But
don't.
were you able to find the stuff that you needed? Like, was it fairly easy?
Yeah, I don't remember having too many problems in that area. And
Okay.
I checked the bag with all the full bottles, so it's not like
Yeah.
didn't have to worry about that. My
Okay.
mom, however, she did have, she definitely went through hell and high water to get overseas and then back home.
Ooh.
Mm.
Yeah, my parents, they were flying separately, separate plans. She
Mm.
has a friend, one of my uncles or cousins or something, who works for an airline, so she was able to fly standby for like a ridiculous rate.
Nice.
Yeah, so I think she had a lot more success flying over. I think
Okay.
maybe she tried to get on one flight, didn't happen, but got on the second one, so that was fine.
Mm.
But I think flying back home was a little bit more of a struggle. So
Mhm.
after Hong Kong, the three of us flew to Tokyo,
Mhm.
and we met my dad out there. So we
Okay.
had all four of us family reunion in Tokyo.
Nice.
And then from Tokyo, my mom went baback home. So I
Okay.
think yeah, it was a little hard because she in Tokyo, the airport is like an hour from Tokyo.
Oh,
So she
wow.
had to travel alone, doesn't know the language, get to the airport, try and get on a plane standby. And then
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was just once or twice that it didn't she didn't get on a plane, but like she had to go back to the Airbnb, book another
Ooh.
room, then trying to find her way back again. So it was a little bit harder for her to get home, but she made it home.
Made it happen. Good on her. That's,
Yeah.
I mean,
I can scarcely imagine having to navigate in like in that foreign language, especially.
like there's not even like an
Yeah.
interpretive.
Yeah.
There's
It's this word.
forget your cognates; they're not there.
Right.
And then with my trip heading back home, so I purchased, because Swarthmore buys the plane tickets, I purchased my round trip before leaving, before planning our trip to Tokyo. So I actually could have like left to go home from Tokyo, maybe with my mom. But
Okay.
after this trip, we're in Tokyo for New Year's. After that, I actually have to fly back to Hong Kong for like 2 nights and then fly home.
That's kind of funny.
So this was right at the end of your stay.
Yeah, this is right at the end. We're at some viewpoint in Tokyo. Tokyo is like a city of cities, mini cities. So we're in one of the like mini cities that I guess we were in the only skyscraper in that little area. So that's why we got this great view.
It is really something.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. That is, I'm looking at this domed building here in the front, like looks like a tennis court on the roof or something. And then you got helipads and it's so funny. I always forget because now I'm looking at the road too. Tokyo, they drive on the left-hand side. Or in Japan, they drive on the left-hand side. And
they do.
Yeah, I always forget that. Like always. And they do in Hong Kong too.
They do in Hong Kong, yeah.
Yeah.
But China's right-hand side?
China's right-hand side. Well, China's wherever you can put the car.
Yikes. That's a little intimidating.
I had a street, real quick story. We had a street that I used to go on that ran the coastline, and there was actually a lane switch lane in the middle. So you had one lane going one direction and then one lane going the other direction. There was a lane in the middle where it was like a passing lane, but it served both directions.
I've seen that in Europe.
I was terrified. Well, this was like around like mountain bends and stuff like that. I'm like, no. My taxi drivers would take those sometimes, and I'd just be like, this is how I go. I'm gonna die. It was a good run. Okay.
Oh yeah. So this is art. This is some of the feet. I couldn't find much art when I was in Tokyo because it was New Year's. All the big art galleries and museums were closed. Okay. This was an exhibition on like Japanese toilets.
Yeah, okay. That was
like fancy like antique historic toilet designs that we found in some, I think it was in a visitor center, so it wasn't even an art museum. So this is one of the few exhibitions.
Actual toilets? I mean, like, were in use at some point?
At some point, ancient.
So what I'm hearing is
white ceramics.
That I'm hearing that toilets in Japan have just always been better than everywhere.
Yeah,
they perfected the toilet.
Yeah, I mean, toilet technology is pretty impressive in Japan. I've seen some things. These are amazing. Did you ever? Okay.
I have nowhere to go with this. I'm just like,
he's like,
decorative toilets. Okay.
I'm gonna ask. You don't have to answer if you're like, nope. Did you use a squatter?
Oh yeah. So I in some places I didn't have a choice. When I flew back to Hong Kong for those last 2 days, it was the student housing was closed. It was on to the next semester.
Oh, no.
So I had to stay in a hostel.
Oh wow.
And they only had squatters.
And do you care to describe this experience to anyone?
Oh, it was not a pretty ceramic squatter that you're looking at here. It was not at all. It was just this metal thing with just a hole in the ground and bugs everywhere. I mean, it wasn't too horrible. Yeah. I can tell that it was cleaned daily, which is good. But it was still a squatter at a hostel.
That squatters are a unique experience for sure. And I did, it was always the common question that you got from other foreigners that was like, which do you prefer, like the sit down or the squat? And my response was always like, well, it depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah. For some things, it's good to have your knees elevated.
Yeah. I mean, those of us with squatty potties, we get it. You know, it does. It kind of puts things in alignment. It is, if you don't have that leg strength, if that's not something that you were, if you're like me and you weren't really raised with good quads, then it can be challenging. It's maybe easier in high heels. I don't know. But
do some squats before you go.
I mean, literally, yes.
You know, it is better in heels. I wear a lot of platforms, and it kind of is better with some height.
Interesting.
A little leverage goes a long way. It's good. And sorry, really quickly, the toilet paper situation, was that provided or did you have to carry your own?
So I actually really loved the public toilet situation in Hong Kong and Tokyo.
Okay.
They take care of their city. They want it smelling good, and they know that well cared for public bathrooms are the answer. So
there we go.
Nice.
I was very pleasantly surprised. Every now and then, maybe they ran out of toilet paper, but for the most part, it was good. It was good. I was happy. Things did smell weird because people eat different things down there, and that's just the smell. You know, like bathroom smells are the worst. In my mind, I just can't. A bad bathroom, I cannot stand. But when you're in a different area where the cuisine is different, and I don't know, digestion is different, different smell.
Was hydration easy? Like, was it easy to get water?
Yeah, water was cheap. 7-Eleven on every block. Just very, very cheap, giant water bottles everywhere.
I've heard the 7-Elevens in Japan are like amazing.
Yeah, well, 7-Eleven is owned now by a Japanese company.
Really?
So yeah, I think a few years ago they bought it, but ever since then the 7-Elevens in Asia are like 10 times better than the ones here. And the ones in Hong Kong, they serve alcohol and liquor.
Right then.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. You go to 7-Eleven to pregame before the club.
Oh my God, that's funny. That's fantastic. Not a thing I would have considered. That's a good plan.
Probably save you a couple bucks too.
Definitely.
I don't see why not. Shoot. Well, I think Business Insider or one of those did a video. I'll have to find. We'll put the link in the comments or whatever. But they did a video comparing and contrasting 7-Eleven's offerings in Japan and the United States.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's the guy from Japan like shows up with his arms full of all this stuff, and you're just like, oh, that looks phenomenal. And it's all like mochis and like deep fried like awesomenesses. And then the guy from the States like tries to pull open a package of like a sandwich or something, and you're like,
not the same.
No, they're not the same. What is this? I saw this picture. I was like, is she okay? She's sitting on an ice chair. Is this another?
Yeah.
What is happening?
So I was definitely on the hunt for art. I went to Hong Kong for the art. So, you know, I was so excited to be in Tokyo, thinking like, oh, this might be the only time I'm here. Gotta see art. And I was just super bummed that the museums are closed. So I went on a hunt for public art.
Okay.
And I found that this district or something had the most interesting benches and public art benches. I actually hunted. It was kind of like a scavenger hunt, but I hunted down like a dozen or so public artworks that were in this post and took a picture sitting on all the benches.
Oh, that is so cool. Wait, so this is not ice.
It's not ice. It's glass, and it pairs with that big glass rock you see next to it.
It's like a poorly placed ottoman.
I guess so.
I loved it though because because it did look like ice and you look cold, so I was kind of like, okay, this might not be Hong Kong, this might actually be someplace where this is like carved out of frozen water.
It could very well be ice because it's freezing in Tokyo on New Year's.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you comfortable at least, or was it like walking around was okay?
I think, did we have hand warmers? I think we used hand warmers a couple days where we knew where we were going to walk around a bunch.
Okay.
I think, that's like the thickest scarf I own.
She's like half covered in a blanket walking around Tokyo.
It was cold. Oh, and this was, so there's the 4 of us, and number 5 is our Japanese exchange student that we
Oh.
hosted when I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh my
Oh, very
God, that's so
cool.
cool.
Reunited. Yeah, so my brother he studied Japanese starting in high school, actually starting in middle school.
Oh,
Okay.
Stuck
wow.
with it, went to Penn State for Japanese and Asian studies. But
Amazing.
yeah, in high school we had the opportunity to well, we didn't host her in our house, but we were like one of her like pairs. My brother was like paired with her to like show her places. So we like went on a bunch of like field trips and like took her to the museums and stuff.
So cool.
Yeah, but her name's Minami, and we tracked her down in Tokyo when we were there. Got this nice photo with the 5 of us.
Where are you
Um,
at? This almost looks like you're like
I think
on a shipping dock. No, but
I
that's a
think
building. What's happening?
I think this was a district that just had a lot of expensive shops. I think this was the area with like the Louis Vuitton and the Chanel and stuff.
Oh,
But we
yeah.
were just walking around the shops taking photos.
Is that Shinjuku?
Maybe.
I only know it from anime, so couldn't honestly tell you. But I was like, I know one district. I'm jumping in with it.
That might be the only district I know too. I would love to go to Tokyo.
Oh yeah, I mean, I need to go back just to go to the art museums when they're open.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
Well, yeah. Also true. So what was New Year's like like what time of year? Was this like our New like same like
Yes,
January
yeah. New
1st?
Year's, January, for December 31st. It's freezing there. On New Year's midnight, we were at the Rainbow Bridge, which I don't know if that's a historic spot. I think so. I think there's a Rainbow Bridge in like Mario or some video game
Yes.
that that's what it was modeled after. So we
Oh
went
my
to the
God.
original Rainbow Bridge for New Year's.
I didn't know that it was modeled off an
That's
actual
No, me
place.
either.
I am pretty sure.
Because
Sure.
Rainbow Road is notorious for anyone who plays Mario Kart. It's always the hardest level. But
Oh
it's
my
always
God.
the most coveted because it's stunning. In every version of the game, it's always the prettiest. It's just impossible.
Exceedingly difficult.
We were on one end of the bridge and there was just this big light show, and yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That
I
sounds
think that's what it was. My brother obviously he's a huge weeaboo, so he knows all of these references.
A what?
A weeaboo, a weeb.
a weeb.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain this.
Okay, let's see. Weeaboo, is it WEABOO?
I actually
WEEABOO. It's a person who just grows up from a young age obsessed with Japanese anime culture and video game culture, and yeah, so it all started with Pokemon for my
Okay.
brother, and it just kind of spiraled from there.
spiraled.
I mean, it's as cultures go, it's like one of those being a Westerner, like that would be a fascinating culture to study because there are so many differences, and yet there are so many similarities. Like one of my big life goals is to see a baseball game in Japan, like a Nippon Baseball League game, and I cannot wait to do it. And
Why is that one of your life goals? I'm very curious.
I like baseball, and
James got some good life goals. They're fun.
Thank you. I'm really happy to hear that you think so as well. But no, it's just like I like baseball. It's kind of fun. It's one of those things where I like being at the ballpark as much as I enjoy watching the game itself. Because having been to games over here, I'm like I know Japan is one of those places that's like crazy about baseball. They love their baseball over there. And it's, not too many countries are like baseball.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, I want to see how, I want to see, just get the feel of a game in Japan. It sounds amazing to me. And you get a lot of, some of the really talented guys like Shohei Ohtani.
Oh yeah.
Is, like not just a generational player. He's a once in a lifetime
in a
sort of player in this. Yeah, exactly. Like he's the Babe Ruth of Japan, and he comes over here and he's pitching and hitting and everything, but you get phenoms over there,
Yeah.
like you get phenoms over here, and it's like that would be really fascinating to me.
I could imagine that they go overboard with the mascots, number one, and then number two, I can imagine that the just the food situation is probably really fun. I can't imagine what they're doing, but it's got to be cool.
Eating squid at a baseball game would be kind of neat.
Squid on a stick.
Yes.
Squid
It's not my favorite.
Squid kebab.
Yeah, it's not actually my favorite food, like favorite meal to eat, but it is a unique enough sort of experience. I don't mind it. It's not the thing I tend to seek out unless I'm somewhere like a baseball game where it's something like.
Jim, are you wearing a baseball hat right now?
I am, in fact, wearing a baseball cap. I would turn it around, except I don't like. I just be in shadow, but it's a minor league team from Hickory.
Can you show the logo?
Hold on. Gonna take a little finagling here. I'm always having a hair day.
I love this hat.
Ooh, that is a cool logo.
So yeah, it's very minor league hat from I think it's the Hickory Crawdads. Anyhow, but they have Es divertido ser un fan. Did I get that right?
You did.
Okay. It's fun to be a fan, and it's their
like the
Hispanic, Latin heritage, outreach in Latin Heritage Days. And I saw this logo. I was like, oh my God, it's a llama and it's got a rainbow hat on it, and it's just amazing. And I'm totally buying one of these. And I have no connection to the team whatsoever. But I love minor league baseball caps because they're so much more fun than the major league version of it.
I think that's why you're obsessed with the Japanese team.
Probably. Too. I'm like, ooh, chibi mascots. This sounds like fun.
I bet Japan. I can respect Japan's mascot game, and I think second place to Japan is Philadelphia. Our sports mascots are
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the team, the thing I like that Jim pointed out to me a while back was, I know we're getting like way off topic, but it is kind of
a little.
The fact that like mascots don't have to be scary. There's no reason to have something violent or vicious or scary be your mascot. Like mascots are just supposed to be fun, like the sport that you're playing. So, what is it? The ham fighters?
Oh, so
and Scrody, Scrody?
No.
Yeah, it's a scrotum mascot.
Stop. What
is this?
Scrody, is it the Rhode Island School of Design? I think.
Oh, that would okay.
Obviously, artists making a statement.
The RISD Scroties
probably doesn't even have a sports program.
I mean, my favorite.
It's their pickleball team.
Fastest growing sport. Yeah, no, there are so many fun ones out there though. Like what my the Tampa Bay Rays have a AA team in Montgomery called the Montgomery Biscuits. And like they're
I miss the Macon Whoopies.
The Macon Whoopies, that was a good one. But there's UC Santa Barbara is the Banana Slugs. I'm like, hell yes. That's everything I want to be. A freaking banana slug.
But like Japan has slug. Wait, the banana slug, that's the piece of the gun?
No.
Slug.
It's a type of slug.
And it's banana colored.
Yeah.
Why am I thinking
yellow?
Banana clip.
I'm thinking of a banana clip.
Banana clip. Yes, that is an entirely different thing. There's also the banana clip that goes on your head. But yes, there's also the.
Now I'm trying to imagine a banana clip mascot.
I don't want to imagine that mascot. I think I'm good without imagining that. No, the ham fighter. Okay, so since we had to bring it up, it's actually Nippon Ham is the company that sponsors them, and they're the fighters. So they're not actually the ham fighters. Although everybody in America wants to be like ham fighters, and they're like, no, incorrect.
I mean, but really fun.
But really fun.
But there's there's the Sakura, right? Like the cherry blossoms.
That's their
rugby team.
I think that's their national team, just period.
Okay.
Like for any.
But that's the thing is,
sport.
they're all these burly men playing these sports and being manly men and doing the manly things, and they're the freaking cherry blossoms.
And they actually have like a cherry blossom themed kit is like their alternate kit.
It's awesome. I love that stuff. Of course you want to go see those games. Why the heck not? I just realized that was our last picture. We should have just been here the whole time. That's so fun, though. I mean, you know, I don't know. I feel like that's the whole reason why people should get into anything, is for the delight of it, right? Like you do it because it brings you joy. Just like you were talking about, like seeking out the art, like everywhere you're going, you're doing the thing, you're finding the interpretation and loving what you're seeing for the reasons that you do.
Yeah. And I find that, you know, when I seek out art, I like use art to guide my travels. So now that I'm so interested in art, like all of my top destinations around the world are art places. But it's like art is it's a way of understanding culture, interpreting culture. So I find that when I go to a place, indulge myself in the art scene, visit their art museum, I feel like I get a really good sense of where I'm visiting.
Yes.
That is an excellent point.
Their history, their values, their culture, all of that.
It's like going to the public restrooms and getting the smells and knowing.
Yeah, or you know, just tasting, sampling their cuisine. Yeah, you know, some people travel for food. I travel for art.
I'm a food traveler. I am a food traveler. I'm with you though. I like that. It's all interpretive. Where did this come from? I don't know. Let's find out together.
I mean, I'm surprised with your sense of smell, hon. I'm surprised you can't smell art. So yeah, the last thing we need is like her at the Louvre trying to scratch and sniff here. I'm worried.
So interesting. The last season's exhibition at the ICA Philly, the Institute of Contemporary Art at UPenn.
Okay.
The last season's exhibition was all about smells and the art and science of smell. And oh man, I wish I knew you were a smells person, because I would have told you to go.
Oh, I'll keep my eyes out for it though, because I'm meeting enough artists now that Jim's extended family, interestingly enough, are artists. They're all Nakashimas, which anyone who's familiar with George Nakashima and his work, that's Jim's family. So, and his uncle is a documentarian. George was Terry's uncle.
Yeah.
So he meeting all these people and getting to know the Philly art scene has been very intriguing, because it obviously we have the art museum very close to where we live and we know all about that, but there's so many other places to see newer art or interpretive, you know, performance art. There's whole neighborhoods that dedicate themselves, you know, to just putting up their own types of displays and making their spaces joyful and delightful and all that. And yeah, I think that's great that I'm finally getting the chance to, you know, after 10 years of being here, to like see that at a different level, because it's a evolution.
Yeah. I'd say it's, you know, better than New York. The only reason I say it's better than New York is because we don't have to deal with the chaos and the expensive prices of New York. But we have just the same quality, just as much diversity.
Yeah. And we have pretension. If you want pretension, we can give you that too. It's fine.
That's you bring up a really great point now. But I like the fact that we're basically kind of diet New York here. And the thing is, but to your point, I'm with you. Like, you can get so many of the things that you can get in New York without being in New York, and you know, that all that crowding and everything. And it's like I like New York, but I think Philadelphia is a more livable city.
Yeah, but you can get it. You can get it everywhere. You get it in Kansas City. You can get it in Hong Kong. You can get it in Tokyo. You can get it in Cleveland. You can get it right in Houston. Like, all of these places have. You just have to know where to look for it.
Yeah,
you just have to know what you're looking for. I don't know. So, since we're in kind of that space of winding down, I think give us a pitch. What's something that you want the world to know about right now, of yours, of anyone else's, can be multiple things.
Wow.
Visualwebmaster.com is your space.
Well, yeah, I studied art history, and that makes me a futurist, historian and futurist. I love that, you know, with the internet nowadays, things just seem like they're moving so fast. Yeah. Like, everywhere I look, everyone's saying, you know, we're in the future. The future is now.
Yeah.
So I love just the idea that, I like how you're starting this startup with travel and making just, utilizing the internet, just bringing people closer together. Just, I don't know, just time and space are one. Art.
I love
I'm
it.
done.
Oh, that's so fantastic. That is such a great note to start the theme on. Like, this is no, seriously, like you can't, I can't top that. You got anything, Adelaide?
I'm good. Okay.
Yeah. I put that in AI before, and that's what it gave me. No, I'm just kidding. That did come from my head, but that wasn't promptu. That was art.
I love it.
This is so great. So can we find you on social media?
Yeah. I use mostly LinkedIn.
Okay.
Just being an entrepreneur and all that stuff. So on LinkedIn, you can find my personal page, Rachel Winchester.
Yeah.
You can find my business page, Visual Webmaster. I also host the Philly WordPress meetup.
Yeah.
And we've got a page there too. So you can search for the Philly WordPress meetup. And then I'm also on Twitter. For fun. Try not to use that too much professionally, but you can follow me at Visual Webmaster.
At Visual Webmaster. Excellent.
And of course, the website is visualwebmaster.com.
Yes, it is.
All right. Rachel, thank you so much. This has been remarkable.
Yeah.
I love it.
Fantastic interview.
And may I also just point out how much I love that we've now had 2 interviews in a row that feature a photo of people reconnecting with their homestays.
Ooh.
For international students.
That's right.
Yeah, so that'll be one back to back. I love this. I think people need to get into this. If you're into homestays, you should be checking that out.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Well, thank you again. We're going to sign off. Everyone have a wonderful rest of your day, and come back and see us again soon. Remember to like and subscribe. Check us out. TripBee Travel pretty much everywhere. You'll find us.
Great. Thanks.
Do a little dance out.